It is finally the time to upgrade the storage on my PlayStation 5 and I chose the Samsung 980 Pro NVMe solid state drive. As you might know, the PS5 comes with around 660GB of storage and I fill it up with only 5 games. And if I want to jump from one game to another and it's not installed on the console, then I have to uninstall a game and install the one I want to play. So, no more. With this extra 1TB I can install probably another 9-10 games on the SSD. Just a couple of information about the solid state drive. It is an older version but cheaper now. I have it for some time and never actually bothered to install it, as I also have an Xbox and play on it quite often. But this year I started to play more on the PS. The Samsung 980 Pro comes with heatsink, which disperses the heat to maintain speed, power efficiency and thermal control, preventing the PS5 to overheat. It has a PCIe 4.0 interface that is 12 times faster than the SATA SSD, is quite small and it costs around £100. I left the affiliate link in the description if you're interested. I want to show you how the menu looks like before installing the SSD on the console. You can only see console storage and USB external storage. The console storage is nearly full, I don't think I can install any game now. At USB external storage, I can probably use an USB drive to move the games on it and free up storage on the console. However, the speed will not be as good as the one from the Samsung 980 Pro. Let's see how to install it in the console. First, I have to remove the plastic panel. I have to put a bit of pressure right here once it clicks, and then to slide it off to expose the SSD expansion bay. I unscrew the bay cover's single Torx screw and remove the cover to access the M2 slot. There is another screw at the top which needs to be removed. I gently angle the SSD into the M2 slot at about a 30-degree angle. You can see how the gold contacts slot in smoothly. Once seated, I make sure that the M2 standoff screw is in proper position for the length of the drive. Then I push the SSD down on the standoff and secure it with a tiny screw. It's important not to over-tighten. Next, I reattach the SSD bay cover and tighten the Torx screw. Then I slid the outer PS5 panel back into place until it clicks. It is an easy process and everyone can do it. With everything back together, I power up the console. It immediately detects the new SSD and prompts me to format it. I didn't record this step unfortunately due to some camera challenges. Now at storage, besides console storage and USB external storage, I can see M2 SSD storage. These are all the games installed on the console. I will move every one of them to the M2 storage. You can see in real time how fast it moves the games. I left the timestamps for each game, and if you don't want to watch it, then you can skip to the end. Now the console storage is free. After moving all those 5 games, I still have almost half the storage free. I have the option to choose where to install the games, on the console or on the SSD, for both PS5 games and PS4 games. I chose to install the PS5 games on the SSD. With this done, go ahead and install as many games as you can and enjoy playing them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the new one.